I may need to call him. I don't think he's gonna sign on.
Well, let's wait and see a second here. Just gonna give it 30 seconds
For
and then
9
I'm
in
gonna,
the morning.
It's on my house. It's Allison's.
That's my
There's
house.
not one person in this house
I
right
mute,
now.
I'll mute.
hold on, just giving it a few seconds for people to join. We have 2 attendees so far, just seeing what happens. Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. It's a special meeting of the Gloucester Licensing Board. Today is Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, and the time is 6:32 p.m. This meeting is being held by remote participation. It's recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. This meeting, like I said, is being recorded, and the recording is usually available within 24 hours on the city website. So the first order of business is to introduce ourselves. And let's start with John O.
John Orlando.
John Lemerand.
And I am Melissa Prince. Public comment. Is there anyone that would like to address a licensing board on a matter that is not on the agenda tonight? I see we have 2 attendees right now. If you want to address the committee, the board, please raise your hand and press *9. Seeing none, so there's no public comment. So we will go on to new business. So new common victular licenses. The first matter is Cake Inn LLC, 63 Rogers Street. Is there anyone here that represents Cake Inn? Please raise your hand. And we
Matt.
have Matt, if we could make Matt a participant. Matt, can you
Hello.
hear us? Hi, can
I
you
can.
state? Great, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yep, Matthew McCarthy. I'm at 213 Granite Street, Rockport, Massachusetts.
Thank you. And what is your affiliation to Cake Inn?
I'm a co-owner.
Co-owner, thank you. Okay, so we looked at your application. Can you tell me what has changed with Cake Inn since we last renewed your license?
Yep, so we've moved to Rogers Street and are in the Gloucester House. We have seating now, which we'd never had before, about 25 to 30 seats. No service or anything like that. People just come up to the counter, but it's a place for people to sit after they've ordered a coffee or a pastry.
Okay. John, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Can you, Matt, can you speak to the flow of the space? I know that we had seen some plans back a couple months ago. I know they weren't finalized at that point, but can you speak to how the flow is going to be in that space?
Yeah, sure. So you walk in through those big doors that face Rogers Street and the parking lot.
Mhm.
And then you go through another set of double doors. And then there's a counter right around the corner from there, and refrigerated cases in the checkout area. And then there's 2 very large tables kind of towards the windows that overlook the water. And then there's some space out on the deck too.
Okay. And I know that they're trying to serve alcohol on the restaurant side.
Yep.
Is there a partition between the 2 spaces?
There's a doorway that you have to go through that can be closed at the moment.
Okay.
And that it is currently closed. There's other space that used to be, you know, rooms for events and things like that at the Gloucester House. I think, you know, Lenny's in the process of converting those into other commercial spaces. Right now they're
Yep.
vacant. But there is a door between the bar area and where we are.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'm good.
John, are you good? John Orlando?
I'll just ask, are you planning alcohol in the future?
We don't intend to serve alcohol at KKN, not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, thank you.
So Matt, along those lines, I just want to clarify the conversation. So when you walk in, and I know this because I go into KKN and buy cakes because they're so delicious.
Okay.
When you walk in, you have that front spot of the room where the fireplace is.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
And there's,
And
yeah,
I-
there's two
the
very
petition-
large communal tables. There isn't much of a partition between us and the other empty space.
It's like a half wall or something, like a half.
Yeah,
Using
exactly.
bookshelves or something.
Yep.
So
But
your
then-
space is defined.
Yeah, by that sort of partition, that is where our space in there ends.
And then you have the kitchen behind there where you do all your
Yep.
good stuff.
Exactly.
So, like John and John both said, owner Lenny LaQuarta was before us not too long ago, and he's talking big picture, you know,
Yep.
future of that room. And it was discussed that at that time, he had these ideas of being able to serve a glass of wine and have customers walk through that area where
Okay.
you're currently leasing.
Yep.
And then having a gift shop and maybe something else in there. He wanted to have that flow with someone being able to have a drink in their hand, which is good, but it comes with concerns and issues, the way things are set up right now.
Got it.
So I think what John and John are just trying to be clear at, currently, your lease that you have control is of that front section.
Yes.
So alcohol is not licensed in that area under any condition because you, Cake Ann, have control of that space, not Gloucester House. They own it, but you're leasing it, so you have control of it. So the only way any alcohol can be in that space is if you ask for permission because you control the space.
Okay.
So I think that's what John and John are just trying to get at. So in the future, if there was some sort of plan to have that type of ability to sit down and have maybe a coffee with Bailey's and have a pastry,
Hmm.
you would probably have to revisit your lease, and the space that you have where people are seating would need to be under the control of the bar area, not under your control.
Got it.
So just,
Okay.
I think that's what we're trying to drive. So there's absolutely no alcohol allowed in your space anywhere where you lease without getting permission from us. And that's a much bigger story than just having a conversation. There would have to be some
Licensing
rearranging.
that goes with it. Yep.
Exactly. And some rearranging of your lease agreement.
Understood.
So that's why we're asking. So we're here tonight. You have a new space, which is nice. I'm sure your business is getting bigger because of it, because you're more local than you were before.
Yep.
And you're just looking to license that space for your cooking and your serving to the public of what you make in that kitchen and nothing else.
That's right.
Right. Do you serve any drinks? I don't even know that. Do you serve any
No.
juice
Oh, well, we serve
or-
coffee.
coffee?
But-
Okay. Okay. So someone could have coffee and a pastry and sit down?
Yep.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. John and John, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Oh, Madam Chair.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I motion to approve a new common victor license to Cape Ann LLC, doing business at 63 Rogers Street.
I second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second discussion. I just don't remember if we heard any operating hours. I know we don't put them on the common vic, but I'm just curious to know what their operating hours are. Matt, can you answer that?
Yep. Generally 7:30 to 5 every day,
Okay.
except Sunday where we close around 2:30. We may expand that a little bit more towards the evening in the future, towards like 6 or 6:30, but we wouldn't go anything really beyond that.
Okay, great. I don't have any further discussion. Are we ready to vote? Allison, roll call vote, please.
Oh, who did I start with last time? Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Mr. Lamourand.
Yes.
Great, the vote passes. Matt, do you have any questions for us while you're on?
No, I don't.
Thank you very much for attending tonight. You should
Thank
be getting
you.
your license from Allison, or I think you printed off the system now.
No, we print it.
Oh, we
Yeah,
print it. Okay, there you go.
All right.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
all.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
The next matter is Howard Blackburn, 289 Main Street. Allison, were you able to get in touch with Mr. Flavin?
I have not. I can try if you'd like.
Yeah, could you? We'll move on and come back to that, come back to this. So the next order of business is common victual license renewals, and there is not going to be any representation from these businesses because we renewed, this is just a renewal, it's not anything new. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to renew the common victor license for Subway Restaurant doing business at 25 Railroad Ave. Lone Goal Coffee House doing business at 143 Main Street. And Tacos Pepitas doing business at 63 Washington Street.
Second that motion?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Did you both go into the permanent system to check?
So I can't see common vics right now. I can only see entertainment and liquor.
So if you go into Explore and go under licensing board, they should all be there by the types of licenses. Like the first one is a common vic?
Yep, nope,
No?
no.
I have mine.
Huh.
Are you under all records, active records? Click on active records.
Yep, active records, yep. I show 26 active records.
I don't even see a number to show. What is your first one that you see? The applicant's name?
Karen Roberts.
Yeah, that's a common vic.
Yeah, but I think there's more than, I couldn't find the 3 that were renewals. But I assume, I mean, Allison dots all the i's and cross all the t's. So
I had to go by address.
Yeah, so if you search up at the top, you can search by name and address as well.
Yeah,
Put them in.
okay.
Okay. So do you have any questions, John, or are you okay?
No, I was good.
Okay, great. Roll call vote, Allison?
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Mr. Lamourand.
Yes.
Sorry.
Great. That vote
My
passes.
mind was wandering.
Okay, next matter is new seasonal all alcohol beverage package store license. Energy North Incorporated located at 73 Essex Ave. This is on for a public hearing as well. Is there anyone here that represents Energy North Incorporated? Please raise your hand. I see Christine Griffin. If we could promote her, please.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
is it okay if he talks through the phone through me?
Yep,
'Cause
yep.
he's- Dennis, okay, thank you.
Hello,
Hi,
Can you hear
Christine Griffin. Yeah, we can. Can you say your name and address for the record, please?
my name's Christine Griffin. I'm at 14 Palmieri Drive in Hudson, Massachusetts. I'm here as a representative of Energy North Incorporated out of Lawrence, Massachusetts at 2 International Way.
Thank you. And this is a continuation from a hearing that we started at our last meeting. So we were able to inquire into the plans. I know I was able to go down to the business today, and I believe another member has visited. So knowing that we know what the plan is as of last week, John and John, do you have any questions to start off this conversation? But at the same time, we have to see if there's any public comment as well.
So do you
So I
want me
guess
to-
let me just start by just seeing if anyone wants to speak in public comment, and then we can get down to, is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. So right now we have 3 attendees, so I'm not sure we're gonna have much of a public hearing, but I'm gonna open the public hearing regarding the Energy North Incorporated located at 73 Essex Ave. If there is anyone that wants to speak to this project, to the license change, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. So public hearing has been held. Okay, John and John, any questions?
I have a question after looking at the size of the areas where alcohol would be retailed. Space is very small. Are these going to be full-size bottles? Are they nip size, or can you answer that question at this point?
Yes, I can answer that question. I've spoken at length with our manager of the store, and the intention is, you're right, it is a very small area. There will be some nips behind the counter, for lack of a better term, the really small ones. And on a shelf where the wine is now, they will create a space that will have space for some full-size bottles, but there won't be very much there. And so we will have a locked supply up on the second floor for replacement and replenishment of anything that we put out on the shelves. So you're absolutely right. It's just going to be a small little area that would have full-size bottles that would be replenished as needed. And so there really wouldn't be a big display or anything like that. We're very conscious of the fact that it needs to be kept secure, and that everything else is going to be kept behind the counter, and everything else, as you saw, would be to the right of the counter. When you walk in, it's on the left. Hopefully that helps.
Okay, thank you.
John Lammerin?
Yeah, I think I guess the only concern I have is it's such a small area. And to get a full alcohol seasonal license, are we really, is that really the space we want that to happen in, I guess is my question. I mean, it's a pretty small space. And I know you don't have anything right now in the coolers, as you would during the season. But it just seems awfully tiny and tight in that one little spot. I did go in there yesterday and look at it.
Yes, and I do believe, although I don't have all the particulars, as we discussed last time, there will be, some remodeling that will be done that would likely account for a little bit more space. I don't ever anticipate it. Well, I can't speak to it, so I'm careful not to speak about things I don't know about. So,
but are they going to widen that space in the future, near future?
yeah, I do think it's going to be more open, and I do believe that the footprint of the building will be a little bit bigger. I just can't necessarily speak to the particulars, and I'm very hesitant to without having plans in front of me. So,
has there been any thought to just delay maybe getting a seasonal license until that space is built out, just to see what kind of area that will be designated for something larger than the space that it's in?
That is certainly always a consideration. I think the other part of the consideration is the fact of availability. And so right now it's available. And when, we do continue and expand and remodel, we don't know what will be available at that time. So we just thought that this would be the good time to apply for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Understand. I mean, it's a great location for, something more than beer and wine there. And there's really nothing close to that area. So that the availability is probable in the future also. Just something to think about.
Yeah, agreed.
All set, John?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my comments are along the lines of what John and John have both said, but first I want to start off by saying I went into the store today, took a couple pictures to get an idea of what this conversation was going to consist of tonight. And to be honest with you, I walked in and I was kind of shocked at what little space was available for alcohol. I think I went in that store years ago, and when I'm talking years, I mean, it might have even been another owner, but there was more wine. Not that there's wine in there now, because there's not, because it's seasonal, but I remember there being wine in different areas in the store. So when I saw that one set of shelving, which is about 2.5 feet, and there's probably 5 shelves, of that being the wine selection, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed. Like, this is a liquor license being used to sell such a small quantity of wine. I understand some wine is in coolers that are mixed with sandwiches to keep the wine cool, and that there's beer in the back coolers. But I got a good sense of how little alcohol was in that establishment. And that raised a little bit of a red flag to me. So I looked behind the counter where you're talking about where nips are going to be served. And that's a good size area. However, you're only going to be using a small portion of it because you have the lottery tickets there and you have the cigarettes there. So it is a good area for a small amount of nips. But again, I go back to, are we getting the most out of our license to have a 4x6 area of nips and just one small shelving of wine and a couple coolers of beer? I mean, we have other stores in Gloucester that use more of their space for alcohol than this store is. So that to me is a concern about expanding. Because with a full license, you can do wine and alcohol. It's not or, you can do both. So I don't, and like John Lamoran said, this is an area that needs, I shouldn't say needs, but would welcome the availability of alcohol in that area, because most of the stores are on the island part of Gloucester as opposed to off the island. So people would benefit from that area. So I believe it's a good location. But I was slightly disappointed with the amount of space dedicated to alcohol and wondered, to be honest with you, how that license got approved, knowing there's only that small amount of alcohol. So I have those concerns in my head as I come to this conversation. I also have a concern about the dependency on NIPS. And I say that because a couple of years ago, the city council attempted to pass a resolution where almost all members signed off to remove NIPS from the community of Gloucester, mostly because of trash and cleanup. And the city council did sign off on it. However, it was combined with another resolution that didn't go forward. So the NIPS resolution kind of fell through the cracks and wasn't addressed, probably because of the change of city council. But that doesn't mean that that conversation's gone, because I asked about it today to see if the city council is still on that path. And as of right now, there hasn't been a discussion, but they're aware that that resolution passed it before and it could pass again soon. So I have concerns about allowing a license, a liquor license, a full liquor license that is going to depend on the sale of NIPS, which could be banned at some point. And that being the gist of the license. I mean, to someone who's worked in the alcohol business, I've worked in bars and restaurants, and I walk into package stores. There's such a huge amount of variety of alcohol. Even if you had one type of vodka, one type of rum, I mean, you need space. So I struggle to find out how you're just going to use that small shelving system to display your alcohol. I mean, I understand you're going to keep more upstairs. So you only need one bottle out or two. But still, with all the alcohol that's out there, to me, that's not a package store type. That's more of a, it's there for convenience if you need it, and you're selling the small quantities as opposed to the big bottles. Most people go to the package store because they want to buy a bigger bottle as opposed to NIPS. To me, NIPS means on the go, use it right away. So there's that whole philosophy. So hearing both John and John speak, I can't help but think that this is not the time to be asking for a full liquor license. And that as the plans move forward, because I know there's a lot of great things happening to that property in the near future, I can't help but wonder if there is a strong sense to have an all alcohol license, that you make that presence known on that property. It's a big piece of property. And maybe perhaps have more space in the store dedicated to all alcohol, because just a small shelving system isn't really a dedication of space to have a liquor license. In my opinion, I expect more, I guess, is what I'm saying. So I'm curious to know your response to that, Christine.
Yeah, so that's very fair to ask, and I agree that right now the configuration of the store is such that it would not allow for a lot of storage and display of those items at the time. And as I had offered at the last hearing, I'd be certainly willing to dive deeper into getting more information about the current plans. And I intentionally did not, just based on our conversation. So I could certainly do that. But as I said, this is part of, I think, the overall view of expansion of the property, which includes that. And I do understand, generally speaking, though, that they are moving forward with that to the point where, this project will be taking off and the remodeling will be done. Maybe not complete, but absolutely, I don't know the exact time frame, so I'm hesitant to say that, but I do know that they're far along in the process, that I could certainly get more information to better understand exactly what the layout will be and what the intentions are in regards to where the alcohol will be displayed and those kind of questions that you have. And those are very fair questions. So I can certainly go back and get more detailed plans, and we can, show you exactly what the intention is and the timing of it and those kind of things. I was just speaking to the current configuration simply because that's what's there right now, and that's what we would be using immediately.
Do you have any idea of the timeline? And I know I've been involved in building buildings, believe it or not, over the past couple of years, and they don't come quick, especially now with materials and steel and things like that backed up a little bit. So what is the time frame? Like, is this a year out, 2 years out? I mean, I saw a plan somewhere, and I saw a picture of what it may look like, because I don't even think the plans are 100% finalized yet. It looks to me like you're tearing down and going to build something bigger. So,
right.
And that doesn't happen in 6 months. That takes a little bit longer. So I'm just trying to understand when this business is going to be going out of business until the new business is built, or is it being built on an area on the property that both stay open? One will stay open while the other's being built.
I do know that a lot of permits have already been applied for, and that the construction, obviously, as you know, we don't have control, obviously, about permitting and how that goes and exactly when the permits will be issued. But the plans, as I understand it, are rock solid, and it's just a matter of getting the final approvals. And because we're near the water, that adds, a couple of layers in regards to the permitting process to make sure that we're not disturbing any waterways or anything along those lines. And as I understand it, that's the one permit that's in process that should be cleared, fairly quickly. And construction is supposed to happen in 2022. But of course, depending on permitting and other factors, we don't know. We'd be ready to break ground tomorrow if had it not, we obviously need to go through the proper channels, and so that's what we're doing. And so that's why we don't have a committed time frame for this. And availability will be an issue, depending on when this actually is completed, and we won't have that option potentially in 6 months to come and apply for a full liquor seasonal license.
So a couple things to that might help you. So first, is the building you're currently in, is that going to be demolished as the project moves forward, or are you building the new building on a different location on the lot?
I can ask that question. But like I said, and maybe it would have behooved me to, ask some questions anyways, but to find out exactly where on the property it's going to be and understand the plans. I don't have that answer right now.
The picture that I saw real quick looks like the building is going in the place that it is now, only bigger.
Okay.
But I don't know that I saw a final plan. That was a quick glimpse. And second of all, you can file for a seasonal license at any time of the year. You're not locked into a certain time of year to file for to change your license from a wine to an all alcohol. So you're not locked into any time frame as far as requesting the license, whether it be February or August.
Okay, for timing, but availability, is that,
As,
I mean,
We
because
have
this
enough.
is, oh, go ahead, sorry.
so it's okay. So it took me a while to figure this all out when I got on the board too, so bear with me. So this is a seasonal license, and it's always going to be a seasonal license. And the seasonal licenses do not fall under the quotas in the city of Gloucester. Only all year round ones do.
Oh,
So
that's helpful.
as long as the applicant makes a case for a reason to have a seasonal license, and it's in the best interest of Gloucester, that it adheres to all the rules and regulations, we don't have a limit on seasonal licenses to some extent.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Patrick Hurd is looking to speak also. He's got his hand up.
okay. Is Patrick Hurd part of this project?
Don't know.
Is Patrick Hurd with Mile Marker, or is Patrick Hurd with Energy North?
He's with
Christine.
Mile Marker, but he probably just feels he knows because that's properties right next door.
Okay, so our public hearing is closed, so we can't take any comment from anyone not involved in this project right now. So Patrick, if you could just give us a moment, we need to get through this application. So with that being said, you can apply for this at another time. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. And I didn't know if you were aware of that.
I was not.
Okay, so the way I see this conversation going right now with the three of us, because we each have one vote, so you need to vote the same for it to pass. It seems we're all pretty much on board with the same concern about, one, the space being small for the sale of alcohol, and two, the floor plan for this project being unknown. We know what it would be today, and we're taking the position and have concerns that it's small. So we have that issue. We have the issue that we're hearing you're going to be depending on NIPS a lot too. And while they're not illegal now, and I don't know if they'll ever be illegal in Gloucester, but to me, that's a concern. Just because of the waste that comes with NIPS alone. And then three, we usually require floor plans, and I'm hearing that the place is going to expand. So we make our decision based on the floor plans, how the alcohol's secured at the end of the day. Sales get taken into consideration. There's all kinds of things that we consider when doing the license. And it just seems to me, well, I think that it's your position that you want to get it now before everything happens. I take the position that it's the opposite. Go out, expand, and then come back to us and show us where your alcohol is going to be. And possibly strongly consider about having more alcohol available if you're requesting this type of license as opposed to just beer and wine. Because I've seen small spaces advertise and have for sale a lot more alcohol than yours does. I would probably say what you have is probably the smallest in the city.
Okay.
So I'm struggling with why I would switch it from what it is now. To have beer and wine and then go to all alcohol, that's a little bit of a jump, but you're not increasing your space. And it's a very, very small space.
And you could come in front of us well before the, I mean, so we could look at the floor plans and give you some feedback, before you come in front of the board again. So that way you have a better idea of, what we're looking for. You can get on the agenda anytime you need to.
Okay.
So we're not saying, no, you're not going to get one. I think what we're saying is I know I'm taking the position it's too small at this point to make that decision tonight, but that doesn't mean you're not willing to come back to us when the plans are more known to you as what could be available to get a license, and that maybe perhaps the business owner has to really decide whether or not they want alcohol to be a good part of their business, or at least a third part of their business, because I know there's a Dunkin' Donuts in there as well, and I don't know if that's staying. I mean, when I'm hearing that wine bottles are in the same chest as sandwiches, I don't know. It's kind of a hodgepodge, and I think there could be more structure to it. And like I said, I think you have a huge opportunity in that area, and I wouldn't want to deprive you of that opportunity. But I think there needs to be a little bit more thought into what portion of the business do you want alcohol sales to be, and how the public will best benefit from those types of sales. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna take it a little bit further, other than nips. You know, nips is kind of getting to be like the plastic straw word or the plastic bags word, you know? So, and not that there's anything wrong with nips, but if that's what you're basing your business on because you only have that tiny small space behind the counter, I don't see that really as a viable reason to get a full alcohol license. And that's just me, one vote, that's all. I just wanted me to be clear that I want this to be successful, but I don't see it being that successful in the way you present it.
So
I
at this-
just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, at this point, would we ask them to withdraw the request?
We can do two things. I think we can withdraw it or we can put it off for a couple of months because I think they had, was there a filing fee you had to pay
Correct.
so I wouldn't want you to have to do that again.
But we can put it off.
Yeah, we can put it off. So say come back
I wouldn't want to
in,
vote on it and have a no vote, so.
exactly. So the law says that we have to, when someone applies for a license, the board has to address it within 30 days. And we did. We put it on our agenda. So we've already met that deadline. So now we have the ability to put it off until we get more information. And I'm thinking maybe after the summer sounds better, or unless you have more detailed plans of timelines and things like that beforehand.
Yeah,
We can
I
always
can-
have another discussion at your request, but I'm seeing that plans need to be much more developed, especially with the focus on liquor sales and how that area is going to promote the sale of liquor.
100% agreed. And I would certainly appreciate the consideration of just leaving the hearing open so that I could get additional information for you. And maybe, but within a month or two, we would also have a better sense exactly where things are at and a better timeline of things. And, how quickly I'll have all the details that are necessary to fully consider this at that point. And then if it turns out that, we essentially need to put this off and reapply at another time after I bring forth further information, that would be perfectly fine.
I know that I'm not trying to deter you from getting a license. I'm trying to promote it in a bigger way, because I think you have such a little request for a license that, we don't give away a lot of licenses, even though we don't have that quota like we do, but we don't just give them away either, so we want something more substantial.
I can respect that and I appreciate that. I would definitely want to, keep it open though, so that, we could definitely verify that there's not a quota or any limitation in regards to when we apply for a change of category or anything like that. I trust what you're saying and take it at face value, of course. But I would certainly want to, run that through council and be sure that that's accurate before we close the hearing and before we, at least vet out some of these concerns so that I'm properly addressing any concerns that you have. I understand exactly what our bigger and larger plans are and the timing from it.
Okay, because I'm concerned that if we put this to a vote tonight, that we're not operating on as much information as we'd like to have or hear. So I don't want to put this to an end tonight. It's more about how do we work together to make this work is how I see it.
Exactly. And I can get some further detail as well as to when, where, how, and what all those details will look like. And maybe I should have done that already. And so I apologize for not having these answers for you, but I can certainly look into that. And, maybe we could just continue the hearing for whenever you guys are next, or maybe in 2 months, or whatever works for the board.
And maybe May would be a good time.
No, May I won't be here. I think we're going to not have a May meeting.
Oh, okay.
So, but let me just say this, Christine, as well. Please don't get the feeling that you came to this meeting not prepared because you didn't have all the answers to our questions, because I think our primary concern, you heard it from all three of us, is that we looked into it and we saw what the small area that was available. So it's not necessarily you not being able to answer to the plans. It's if we approved this tonight, what sales would be had in there and how would the storage work? And I don't know that we were convinced that having an all alcohol license would be the right decision, the way that you have it planned for now. So please don't think that you came here unprepared. It was more that we got a good view of what the sales are in there, what the placement of the alcohol would be in there. And I think we expect more, that's all.
I understand that. And the only
Okay.
thing I would add that they do plan on those lottery tickets, they do plan on removing some of that space in order to make space for, alcohol and things like that. So they're going to be cutting back in certain areas in order to make space for this. But I'm sure that's only one piece of the puzzle. So,
Great.
but just thought I'd add that.
Okay, great.
Great, thank
So to the board, I'm thinking June or July. Just because I don't see any resolution to this tonight. Right?
Correct.
And I'm looking at you two to nod, because if you're gonna say yes, we can put it to a vote. And like I said, to me, it's more of a space issue. So based on what they're saying is available now, even if they do remove the small lottery area, which is a 4x6 area, I don't know that would even be enough to convince me tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're, expanding or, putting in, some additional square footage, I think that
Mhm.
gives them an opportunity to kind of really look at the layout and get more information in front of us to make a better decision. So I think June or July would be fine with me.
And that will give them a chance to, if they want to redesign something inside. It's amazing what bookshelves can do on a wall for alcohol. There's little things that you can do to make the most of your space. I mean, we saw it in Little River down there. That is a tiny, tiny little store, and they've managed to put a lot of alcohol in that store using their space. So, and I see something like that happening here.
Yeah, and
It's just
I could revisit that with the manager of the store and better understand and share the concerns and even provide some additional plans depending on what I find out and what's possible and between what our current situation is and where we're going, and find out all those details and how we could, satisfy the board on both fronts.
Great. Okay. So I'm thinking June or July. I don't know for sure what month it would be. I know June, we have some activity going on at our meeting already. I think it's June 14th.
It is.
I don't know if that's a good meeting to jump onto. So I'm going to suggest July, unless you feel that you've received more information that is compelling to push us in a direction. You can always request to get on sooner than that
Okay.
by just reaching out to Allison, but let's assume at this point that you're probably going to come before the board in July. Is that okay? Unless something comes up.
Defer to the board, but I will, reserve the right that if I do
Yep.
find out some additional information that my current, intel is not accurate and that then their plans are something else, then I'll bring that forward and request an earlier hearing, but whatever you guys decide is fine.
Yes, and please pass on the message that you can apply for this license at any time.
Okay, that's good to know. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll probably see you in July, if not sooner.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Next order of business is alteration of licensed premise, and we have Mile Marker One LLC, and I hear that we have Patrick Hurd to promote. Patrick, if you could unmute and introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Patrick Hurd, General Manager of Cape Ann Marina Mile Marker Restaurant at 75 Essex Avenue, Gloucester, Mass.
Thank you, Patrick. So I know you had your hand raised at the last conversation. Did you want to share anything with us?
I was just trying to help out. As a butters, we've been at all of the meetings and the presentations of what they're doing over there. And your question was, are they going to be operating in the same footprint in the same building? And the quick answer is no. They're going to tear that building down and go due south to the corner, closer to the drawbridge. So I didn't know. I was just trying to be helpful there.
I
Sorry
appreciate
to
that.
interrupt.
No, that's okay. It's not interrupting. It's just that we have a formality of open meeting law and complying with certain rules and regulations with public hearings and deliberations and other conversations coming in. Trust me, it's nothing more than procedure.
Understood.
But
Understood.
but
Thank you.
definitely appreciate any help you can always give us. You always give us. So we're here tonight for mile marker.
Yes.
You're here because you've added space on the side, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I might have this wrong. On the side of the parking lot, you're trying to
We-
add that to be permanently licensed?
Yes, we, we are about to add, we're under construction of rebuilding the seawall on that side of the property. And they're putting in pylons that, day by day as we speak. We
Okay.
got permission to have a temporary license over there last winter for our igloos that we expanded to that side of the property. We're going to be adding a deck over the waterway there as they finish the seawall. And what we would like to do is basically be able to use that area year round in the summer months to be able to have the deck enclosed and fenced off to be able to have smaller private parties, say, a rehearsal dinner of 30 to 40 or small weddings, et cetera. And then in the winter to be able to utilize that space for our igloos.
Okay,
So I have a question.
go ahead, John.
Just to know the area he's talking about. I was there the other day, and to the left of the bathrooms, there were 2 igloos. Is that where you're talking?
To the left of the boaters' bathrooms as you're looking at the
Correct.
main building to the left-hand side, yes.
Okay, so it's as you're facing the building, it's to the left of those bathrooms. There's a little deck there that has 2 igloos on it right now.
Yes.
And you're
And
gonna be
then-
expanding that over into the water? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so it's going to extend over the water and be about another double in size of the deck that you saw.
I see, okay.
Patrick, can you remind me, when did we approve that side to serve alcohol?
I believe it was right about this time last year. It might have been a little bit earlier. It might have been in January of last year.
And you're using it now?
We're using it for dining, but we're not serving. Any alcohol we serve there is basically in the to-go area where they're sealed. They're able to open their own bottles of wine, or the beers are not open. So we're using the to-go area, but we're serving food over there. We've got the okay there, but we're not serving any alcohol over there.
So I thought the to-go regulation was removed.
No, it actually was just extended to my
Oh,
understanding.
was? Okay.
Last week it was just extended until I believe end of May.
So you're selling drinks to go, but you're allowing it to be consumed on your property.
Well, that area right now is technically the public so we have to provide public dining areas all year round, or public access / public areas for people to dine, have sandwiches, and it's part of our deal with the states to be able to utilize that. So in essence, we're serving food, and under the regulation, if you're serving food, you can, as in to-go food, you can also offer to go as long as they're sealed and contained and we don't open them.
And you
But our-
said there's service of food, or they're buying the food to go as well?
Well, I guess it's a bit of a gray line. We're serving them food that they're able to eat there as basically almost like a picnic area. But our goal is to go back to the side. What we're doing with the other igloos is full service and full alcohol.
No, and trust me, I understand where you're going, and I think it's a great idea. I'm just trying to figure out how you're doing what you're doing, that's all. Because the COVID regulation that allowed that temporary extension of premise, is no longer in effect.
Right.
I do see that the drinks to go are good through May 1st, so that's good. But they're to go. I don't know if they're supposed to be consumed on the property, but that's a conversation I don't want to get into right now.
Okay, so again, just so from our point of view, just so you know, that area is the area where in the summertime, we are allowed for people to picnic, and they are allowed to bring their own entities there, or their own items there. So
So we have a BYOB regulation in Gloucester that you can't bring your own booze unless you get a permit. So that's in effect in Gloucester. So just know this is for informational. This
Sure,
isn't
thank
this isn't gonna be anything other than that. So we
Okay.
have a BYOB regulation, so you can't bring your booze onto people's onto common victuals property now. One, if you already have a license, that's an issue. And two, if you're gonna allow BYOB, you have to get a BYOB permit through us, which is only new in the last couple months for us. But BYOB is prohibited in Gloucester now unless you're a common victualler and you have a BYOB permit.
Okay,
So just know that. This is just for informational purposes.
thank you.
So tonight, what I'm hearing is you have this beautiful area on the side of your parking lot that you're rebuilding the wall. You have a couple of igloos now, so that's the area that you're serving in now, but you want to make that permanent for the sale of alcohol plus expand it to a deck that's going to go out over the water.
Yes,
Correct, okay. And the deck's not built yet.
the deck area is not built. There is a small deck there, and then we have a section of land there as well. But the deck will expand a little bit larger there, which I believe is denoted in the application.
Okay, 'cause I don't recall seeing any plans. John
Yeah,
or John,
it-
did you see any plans?
Yeah, page 11 on
Okay.
their packet.
Okay. Okay,
Well, it starts at page 8.
and when do you see the deck being built? I know it's like a ground level deck right now, but when do you see the deck being expanded?
Well, we're dealing with Union right now. The whole project is underway. We hope for a April 30th completion of the entire project, but
Okay.
again, we're dealing with Union, so hopefully soon
When you
as
say dealing with unions, you mean union workers, like to build?
I just mean that they take long lunch breaks and take early
Oh, I
breaks.
see.
So it slows the process down, but the schedule is end of April
Okay, got it.
for completion of
Need
the
to find
entire
a different union.
project. Yes.
Okay,
So the seawall project goes all the way from the beginning of our lifts when you first come into the project, replacing the entire seawall there down to the corner of the building where we're talking about. And so the deck will be the last entity of that, but they're about 2/3, or they're not quite halfway there yet. But they're working every day in that direction.
so tonight, and just to be clear, before there's any more questions asked for John and John, because I'm sure they have some, just to be clear tonight of our purview. So there's a deck there now that doesn't go out over the water, that has igloos on, and you're looking to have service of alcohol there permanently. But by April 30th, there's an expectation that that deck is going to get bigger.
Yes. Yes.
Is there
which is
anything
noted.
more to this story than that, or is that?
There's really nothing more to the story than
Okay.
that.
John and John, I'm going to open it up to you for questions. I just wanted to get an
Okay.
understanding of what we're talking about.
Since I was there recently, I'm trying to figure out, it's right off the parking lot. So I'm thinking about your other deck that's on the right-hand side. That's off the parking lot, but recessed. This is right on the parking lot, adjacent to the two boaters' bathrooms. If a teenager came up out of their parents' boat, went to the bathroom and then snuck onto the deck with who would be checking IDs? The bartender? Is there going
No.
to be a bar on the deck? I guess that's the question.
To like that answer is possibly. Right now, we are not designing a plumbed bar to be on that deck, but depending on the party, we may put a bar there with a bartender. But the deck design, unlike the deck that you're speaking of, is will have fencing and will have a gate. So then, as we do with our other areas, per se, so the pavilion area where we do our weddings, et cetera, we always man whatever entrances and exits there are whenever we have events that serve alcohol with paid doormen. So we would always have somebody marking there. Now the igloos themselves are, so basically we're talking about two worlds, where the winter world and the summer world. The winter world of the igloos, each individual igloo is fully doored with a doorknob. So it's
Yeah.
basically a party inside where it's basically monitored, and then the server would be monitoring who's served there, basically like individual little huts, if you will. The outdoors would be fenced with a gate, and then whenever we would have an alcohol party, et cetera, over there, it would be manned at the gate, checking IDs exactly like we do on the other side.
Okay, so,
What's the capacity?
The capacity will be about 50 people, maximum.
Is this going through the zoning board?
Yes, yes, it
Been
is.
approved by the zoning board?
Let me see, I think, to answer the question, yes, we've gone through zoning and approved, and we're marching down the line of approvals, and you're the next in line, and then we go to the next, whichever that entity is. But yes, we went to zoning appeals last month and got approved.
So zoning has approved everything you do, and I'm trying to understand why we're next in line. Because usually you get all your zoning approval, and then we know how to make the decision based on the fact that you've done everything zoning needs you to do. Now we can add the alcohol. So do you have to go back to zoning for anything?
Give me just 1 second, let me just check my
That's
notes.
okay, take your time, yep. And if not, I mean, if you do, just know that I understand you have igloos there now that you want to be able to serve alcohol in. So that's another conversation.
Yes, we definitely would like that. I mean, the igloos have become our revenue source for the winters. It's totally unbelievable. We will have to put in perspective, we will have 150 reservations on a Saturday night, and 8 of those will be inside, and the remainder will be outside in the igloos. So it's everything for us right now.
Yep.
Um,
great.
I'm sorry, John, Orlando, I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you have any more questions? Well, Pat's looking for, I don't know if he's still looking.
No, I was just confused about that, and this has nothing to do with, I don't think, with approving or disapproving your request. Just a personal matter, how does food get served all the way from the kitchen to that side? Just because I'm one of those people that has to know those things.
Well, I'll tell you, John, it's a challenge, and my hat's off to my staff, because those igloos are not only being serviced, they're being serviced on snowy nights, and
I was
so
gonna say, a snowstorm, I can imagine. walking
Right.
through-
so we've invested in hats and parkas and vests and fleeces and gloves for the staff. We've got covers on the old school, those big domes you used to see in like the 1940s when room service was delivered. And they basically walk through the pool area all the way over to the far door and open the door, and God bless them, they're weathering the storm and knocking on the door. Usually they go out in twos, somebody opens the door and they go in. And believe it or not, we've had 2 complaints of cold food all winter. So we're getting the job done. And it's one of those things of, you need to figure out how to make some hay while the sun shines. And it's been working for us. It's not easy for these, and God bless them, they're doing it.
I give you credit.
Yeah.
Gotta get a heated car with snow tires on it.
Right.
John Lammery, do you have any questions?
Yeah, can you talk to me about the fencing? I mean, it looks like from the plans, you're gonna have parking right there at that area. I know that there was, when we did the extension last year in front of the building and the whole fire, exit type of thing. The parking was still on the outside of, the area. This seems like it's right on top of the deck, or right next to the deck.
Not on top of, we're in the process of debating whether that parking area will disappear and relocate, or whether we'll keep it. But if we do keep it, you'll basically pull your car, the car's up, there's 5 parking spots there right now, and they will basically abut the fence. And then, so, if you pull in, your bumper will hit the curb stop, and then another foot away will be the fence in front of you. And then to the, or would that be to the east of that, there would be a gate where you would be able to step onto that deck. The gate would be, opened if there was no events going on, and then if there were events, the gate would be manned or closed.
What kind of fencing's going there? Do you know? Is it metal? Is it wood? Is it ropes?
It's right now, it's slated to be the hard wire, so not the flexible wire, but looks like wire fencing with basically wood frames with 6-foot gaps, and then hard metal.
It's cable wire, right?
Well, it's like cable, but it's actually hard. So it's
Right.
the
That's
cable.
what people put on their houses right now. They're doing the cabling.
Yes,
My
except the
husband installs them.
cabling is usually flexible that you have to pull super tight, and these are actually
yeah.
small rods. So they don't have
Okay.
the flexibility that you can't really pull them apart and squeeze through.
Okay.
So the server will be crossing that walkway area from the building with alcoholic beverages
Yes,
into the patio area.
yes, unless, well, if we're talking winter with igloos, yes. If we're talking summer, more likely than not, that area would, in the summertime, is thought to be used dominantly for parties. So if we have a party, then we'll most likely set up a temporary bar where alcohol would be coming from that area. You know, they'd be stocking it, walking across there, but the alcohol would be mixed and bottles would be open more often than not, 99% on that deck.
Gotcha. So it will no longer be open for folks to picnic there anymore.
No. Well, we will still have picnic area. We're still going to meet the picnic area, which will go from there due west towards the lifts. That entire area, we're going to have new seating areas and kind of landscape areas, a tiny mini thin park, if you will. So it'll be kind of updated, but that area will not be in the required footprint of that. So yes, that area will go away from the party, if that answers the question.
And what type of barrier is there? I see the on the floor plan, the existing platform leads to the boat ramp and docks. There's like a bold kind of rectangle, 20 feet by 20 something else, it looks like. That's the area you're talking about that's not going to be part of the decking area, correct? It'll be part of, they'll be separated.
Yes. Yeah, so that area, you're talking about the area that basically reaches up and touches the green line?
I'm talking about I'm looking at the deck with the table settings on it.
Okay.
Or the
I'm sorry, let me
photograph with the table
back.
settings. And you show the ramp, the gray ramp platform. So is that the area you're saying that's people can still picnic at?
No, where you see the public walkway to the left, that public walkway there will run a large span all the way to where our boat lifts are. And that's approximately 250 feet. And in that, we still encompass all that the state requires. That and another area over to further to the northwest. There's another section over there on the other side of the old gull, that those two areas are still able to encompass what the state requires as far as square footage for public.
Gotcha. Okay. And how tall is the fencing you're going to be putting up?
It's going to be, I believe, 40. It's going to be to code, which I'm trying to blank. It's either 42 or 44 inches.
Okay.
So higher than residential. It'll be the commercial size.
Yep. And then what about entertainment or music?
Any entertainment we do over there will be very, very limited. And we would be happy to commit to that. So it'll be, an acoustic with maybe one small amp and two singers, but there won't be any bands or large parties there. That'll be restricted to the other pavilion side.
Sorry, my dogs are barking, so I had to mute. Thank you.
And Patrick, has this, I got the information you sent over, has it been recorded at the registry of deeds for the zoning?
I don't believe it has, because I know we have one more stage. I'm just trying to check my notes here. That after this, we go to planning and site review. So we went to zoning and now for you. And so again, we're following the building inspector's lead, and he's giving us the list of where to march and where to apply. So we've met with him multiple times on this. So after zoning to you and then on to planning and site review. So I don't believe it's been logged yet.
Okay, so the special permit is not in effect yet.
Right.
I can add to that. They're still in their 21-day, 20-day, oh God, I just forgot the word, appeal period. They
Right.
just time stamped the other day. So their 21 day, the 20-day appeal period just began.
It just began?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 20, but any time after the
Being 21 days because you don't count the day it was stamped.
Right, okay. I had to do this recently. That's the reason I'm asking.
Any more questions? So I have a couple.
I think I'm good right now. I might have another one later, but I think I'm good.
So Patrick, I can't tell you how excited I always get when Mile Market comes before us with a new project, because I think you have the most beautiful piece of property in Gloucester and so much potential down there. And it excites me to see that you try to expand and make the most of that beautiful property. With that being said, if you heard the last conversation, you'll see I'm someone that struggles a little bit without being able to see something and feel it when I make a decision. So I'm wondering if the board will consider doing this tonight. And please don't take it as a sign of anything other than just taking this in steps. So as of right now, you have a couple igloos out there that you want to serve alcohol on. And we know they're safe. We know the building inspector has signed off on them. And that to me is an easy decision to make tonight. The deck, on the other hand, is a bigger story and it's not built yet. And you haven't gone through the full process of that deck yet. So what I'm wondering is if the board will consider expanding the area tonight for the use of igloos now, but then look at this when there's been some progress on the deck, so we can have a full understanding of what's going to happen there. Because I'm not hearing that there's just going to be some tables out there with table service. I'm hearing now that it could be an area for a party and potential bar, which I think is great, but that's a different conversation than just adding tables to an area. So, and there's safeguards that we need to know that are in place, and those safeguards could change between now and the actual outcome of the project. So I'm wondering if we can move forward tonight with potentially, depending on the vote, giving you permission to use the igloos in the way that you need to tonight. But then once the deck is expanded and you're bringing food and alcohol out there outside of those igloos, that we have another conversation to move forward. So in other words, we're not saying no, we're helping you along the way. But just by John and John asking you questions tonight, I don't have a full picture of how this is really going to work. I have faith that it is going to work, but I just would need to see it as opposed to seeing it on paper. So I'm wondering Patrick, what your response of any concerns to that would be if that was the route we chose tonight.
I think that's fantastic. You know,
Okay.
that's what we really need right now,
Mhm.
and we're fine with that. And by the time we get it built, we'll still have time to execute what we need to from there. So we're fine with that.
Okay, because I'm not hearing anything that concerns me tonight. I don't want to make a decision based on something that is probably going to be the outcome, but we don't know for sure. And we don't know for sure until the project's built. You never know how it could change, new ideas that could come in at the last minute, change of materials, change of something. So I don't want to put the board in a position where we approve something and then the outcome is a little bit different and we weren't able to take that into consideration because we didn't know it at the time. But yet at the same time, we want to help you expand your business and use the igloos now.
Thank you for that. Very much appreciated.
So we're not putting the brakes on anything, just maybe an approval as it happens, as opposed to trying to pre-approve something we're not 100% sure of yet tonight. And I'm
Okay.
wondering, John and John, your thoughts on that, knowing that Pat's okay with that. Patrick's
Madam
okay.
Chair, I thought we approved that expansion of those igloos on that side last year.
I think we did it for COVID, and those COVID regulations are over. So you know that law that we cited, that certain language?
Yep.
I forget the exact language I have. up
Yeah,
here.
no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Now I remember it.
We thought so as well, and then we got
The whole
reminded. that
improper.
it went away.
Yeah,
So this is going to be permanent, and I know we didn't do permanent. And then this
Yep.
deck that's not built yet will be permanent, and we want to make that permanent. But
Yep.
we just want to make sure that all the boxes are checked off. It's gone to the planning and site review. Everything is done. Now let's expand the alcohol. In other words, we're giving Pat the knowledge and understanding and support he needs to move forward, but yet no final approval until we see the final outcome, which I can't wait to see it, to be honest with you.
So can he sell alcohol on those two for those two igloos?
Well, that's what we'll discuss
We're gonna
tonight. So in
vote.
other words, the igloos are the self-contained area, right? Those are the borders. We know they're in the igloo. We know teenagers can't walk in.
Right.
We know that waitresses are doing a fabulous job of getting everything out there in the worst of winter, which is great. But they're contained. And we don't know how contained the deck is going to be yet. I'm sure it will be, but I don't have that vision yet. I have an idea of how it's going to look, but we don't know for sure. And once we see it, we might have other questions like we did when he put borders up in the front of the building when he expanded out front, which turned out to be a great project by adding those little fire pits and things like that. So I think we do this in pieces with the nod that this is happening. Just need a little bit more information, more of a visual as it goes forward.
Yeah, I think that works.
So Patrick, tonight, how many igloos do you have out there?
Currently 5.
So you have 5 on that piece of property that we're talking about. And how long do you plan on keeping the igloos up? Unless it like
Probably,
snows in April, which we hope not, but
it'll all depend on when they kick us off to build the deck. So if
Okay.
they get down there April 1st, we'll pull off, March 31st. But we'll try to keep them there until the very last minute. And if they, heaven forbid they don't get there, worst case scenario, we'll keep them there to the middle of May, but I don't foresee that happening.
and you believe that you can build the deck and all that needs to be done to it in 30 days? Because I thought I heard an April 30th date for
Well,
the deck.
there'll come a point of diminishing returns where if they get to that point at a certain date, we'll have to call them off to begin our summer and keep our boaters happy. So
Mhm.
their timeline will run out. So if they march down and they say, hey, we're coming in there, we'll lift them and get them out of the way. If we have to say, guys, come back next fall because we have to get into boater season, then we'll just try to keep the igloos as long as we can and pull them out. But I'd like to say that there's a slight possibility, and it's not what we want, but we may have them out there until May. I really hope we don't. I hope we have a deck under construction and finished by then. But again, these guys are not moving at a fast pace, so I have to cover all bases.
Okay. So John and John, I see tonight as if we're on board with moving forward with an approval for it to be for the purposes of selling alcohol in the igloos. In other words, this area and the space would be inside the igloos, which provides the boundaries and the structures that we need to determine safeguards in place. So in other words, it would be permanent, but it's going to be with the use of igloos. When they're ready to take the igloos down and expand outside the igloos, then they come back to us and we look at the project as a whole without igloos on the property and now with a vision and clear boundaries of the deck.
Patrick, is your intention that when the deck is finally built, you're going to have more than just 5 igloos out there?
No, I don't. We may push it to a 6th, but I don't think we'll have room for more than that.
But they'll have a deck that we can now license. You know what I mean? Looking at their boundaries, what security's in place, what eyes are on there, what type of partying, parties, functions are going to be out there, as opposed to 6 or 7 people in an igloo. You know what I mean?
Right.
Having the igloos is one dynamic of using the space. Anything beyond that, we would have to approve going forward.
Would it be then an expansion of the deck?
So I think we're
In the
like,
future?
well, right now we would just be licensing the property that the igloos are on now.
Right,
And while they're being used as igloos,
right.
right? And then once there's a change to that, then they come back to us and we expand it. So instead of filing a new application, we leave this open. We give you a date in April or March, whatever you feel is appropriate, if the project's progressing. And that way we're just continuing the conversation, but we're approving this in baby steps. So tonight could be just, we're approving the alteration of premises to include the area of where the igloos are now with the igloos on the property. If he wants to make any changes to that, he comes back and then we hear more information on what is being done.
I think that makes sense.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that last part.
No, I think it makes sense that we're going to do it in piecemeals.
Perfect, thank you.
So I think Patrick, and I'll have to look at John Lammerin to make the motion because he's the motion maker tonight. So we might want to think about this as I'm talking. So I think the intent by this conversation is to move forward tonight and approve permanently the use of the space that is currently occupied with igloos on that side piece of property for the service of alcohol, to include the service of alcohol. So in other words, we've extended your license to include those 5 igloo spaces. If you intend to take those igloos down and do more, then you come back to us. And we just extend it as we go according to our regulations and rules.
You know, understood and appreciated.
Okay. Good luck, John.
Good.
Let's see how
And
this goes.
Allison, please ask questions, just so if you have them afterwards. But no, this is not the end of this conversation. In other words, this application is still open for future meetings to include other space, to include other options on this space. So it wouldn't be a new application to expand beyond what we're talking about tonight.
Okay, that's what I was hoping.
All right, so I motion to approve an alteration of the license premise at Mile Marker 1 LLC to include the space where the 5 igloos occupy to serve alcohol.
And I second
enough?
that.
So we have a motion and a second. So to be clear, I say it one more time. This is a permanent extension, so this is permanent, so this can happen every year after tonight. Those 5 igloos in those 5 spots have the ability to serve alcohol. Their license premise has been extended to the occupied space of those igloos as they stand tonight.
Agree.
Any questions on the motion?
No,
Any further discussion?
No.
Allison, any questions? And if not, a roll call vote.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, great. Roll call vote?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes.
Mr. Rolando,
yes.
Mr. Lammerin.
Yes.
Great. So Patrick, as you've heard, you're good to go with the igloos. Once you expand outside of that, you come back to us. So I guess I'd ask you, do you think you're going to have more progress in March, or should we expect to have you on the April agenda?
I think
And
April.
no-
is a little
April?
more- Yeah, I think April's probably a better bet for all of us.
Okay, so April is April 12th. And if for
My
some
birthday.
reason, your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday. If for some reason, Patrick, something comes up, you can always be heard sooner.
Okay,
You know, and don't feel trapped in that timeline as well, because we know things happen during projects.
okay. Thank you all very much.
All right.
You're
good luck.
welcome.
Patrick, you're
All right.
doing great work there.
Thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah, you
Sure.
too.
Approval of minutes. We don't have any minutes to approve, do we, Allison?
No, I'm just too busy to get to anything. Any minutes, I should say.
I didn't hear a word she said. It sounded like mumble jumble.
Yes, me too.
Got to know?
No,
Okay, thank you.
we do have the discussion though.
We do have the discussion, yeah.
Yep. So the board will vote on the 2022 census population increase estimate for the ABCC. Last I was told, the population in Gloucester is between 30 and 31,000, which is why we got an additional alcohol license, which we'll be talking about at our next meeting. I haven't heard that it's increased since that, so I am going to make a motion that we vote the 2022 seasonal population increase to be 31,000 people.
John, you have to second.
He doesn't even know what I'm saying.
Explain that part.
So John, let me back up a little bit. I apologize. I keep thinking you've been here forever. So every year, the licensing board has to take a vote as to what our seasonal population is.
Right.
And we know there's that argument that our population doubles in the summer, right?
So it
But when-
doesn't?
So,
That's why I did that.
so it depends how you look at it. So yes, twice as many people come into the city, but they don't live here. Like, we're not an island of 60,000 people in the summer. Do we have people visiting during the day and a lot more people during certain times of the day? Yes, using the beaches, using the restaurants. But there aren't 60,000 hotel rooms and apartments available for summer rental, or 30,000 in the city. So to say that our population doubles, it depends how you look at it. Yes, it doubles because we have tourists here and a lot more people here every day, but they're not living and residing here and staying here long-term. A lot of them are in and out in a day or two, day trips.
Okay, I'm thinking, what is it, what is our year round?
31,000,
That's our year round.
yep.
But no, so what are you saying our seasonal is?
I'm saying it's pretty much the same. I've had
The
this
same.
conversation with Joanne Cenos, just because we don't, I mean, I know there's some inns in Gloucester that taking people more so in the summer than the winter, but you have proof that it happens all winter long. You know, there's not a lot of just summer rental properties to really add another couple thousand. So we can say that we know there's at least 31,000 here. And to be honest with you, it doesn't make that much of a difference because we still have the flexibility to issue as many seasonal licenses as we want. And we do that knowing our population is heavier in the summer. So we want access to more, but the ABCC just wants a number from us. And if I pose the question to the city clerk, she suggests that we put the same number down. And that's what we've always done. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really make that big a difference in the outcome because they're only asking for seasonal population, which does not change the amount of licenses that we get.
Okay. I'm, that's fine. And I thought we had a lot more summer homes. I'm not talking about hotels, B&Bs, but summer actual residences.
So a
So
lot
if
of
our
summer
year-round-
residential homes, they're counted as residents because they're in Florida 4 months and they're here 8 months.
So they're
So-
included in that 31.
That's my understanding. I mean, how many empty places do you see right now? I mean, I'm sure there's some, but do you see thousands of empty apartments in summer homes right now?
No, because people, so in the wintertime,
Which is now.
yeah, people rent anything and everything that's available for just the winter in order to live in Gloucester. And then in the summer, they leave. Okay, Atlantic Vacation Homes would be a good place, a good source of information. Go ahead.
I'm just saying in the big picture, it doesn't matter because this doesn't change anything. We just
Right.
need to give the ABCC a figure.
Right,
It doesn't add more licenses for us to play with. We can
Right.
still have the flexibility to issue as many seasonal licenses as we want, knowing it's very busy, and that's why we don't have a quota on them.
Mhm.
So I don't see this number being a big deal, and there's no accurate way to collect it. And so the past history has always been to just provide to the ABCC the same number. That was suggested by the clerk a few years ago.
okay.
So
just
that's what
needed
my
the
motion is.
clarification.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I keep thinking you were here when we've done this before.
Yeah, no,
John
this
Lamoran,
makes
do you have
more
any
sense.
questions? Or did
Ma'am.
someone second my vote? I can't remember.
I was telling John he needed a second because he's a second guy.
Okay,
Second.
I took away John's motion. today.
Did you even make the motion?
Yes,
Oh, all right, I second that.
Who made the motion?
you did.
Yeah, I made it. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was
way too
waiting for
much.
John.
Yeah, I threw a little wrench into it tonight. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
No.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh, no, we got a roll call vote.
Oh, yeah. Living a dream there for a minute.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Mr. Van
Yes,
There you go.
The vote carries. Allison, that's what we've been doing the past couple of years, correct?
Yes.
I think we did 30 last year. And you'll send that in to them?
Yes.
Okay. Any new business to come before the committee? In 2 weeks.
oh, any conversation about the additional license and how we're gonna handle that?
Not on the agenda tonight, not talking about it, and no, I don't know anything else.
well, that takes care of that.
That's easy. Nothing more to discuss.
The good news is the Hell of a Point's coming back, down to 2.
Yeah, did we ever approve that? We didn't approve that.
Wait, where did Dennis? Did Dennis get on the phone?
No, I've called several times. He isn't answering. Or picking up.
Hold on,
Yeah,
Be nice to get them going.
I forgot about that. Let's see here.
I like the name change.
I just think it's so strange to say, meet me at the Blackburn again. That's just awesome to me.
Do you know it's pouring out?
yeah.
Better than snow.
I think that's why Allison had to mute me.
I haven't had to mute you tonight. I might have done it once by mistake.
Oh, okay.
We have a message. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Dennis, this is Melissa calling from the licensing board. We need to speak with you about your application tonight. If you get this message in the next minute or so, please give me a call back. If not, we will have to reschedule this conversation to March 8th. Please give me a call. Thank you. Let's just give that a minute.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not scheduled to open till the 15th. So I mean, technically, we could get
17th,
it in
yeah.
before the 15th. So
Yeah.
we don't hear from them.
I want to hear on record what's going on in there because they remodeled a little bit as well. So, and I just want to make sure that their liquor license at the same, like, just, there's a big picture here.
Did they used to serve outside? Did they use
Yeah.
the patio next door?
Mhm. They have in the past.
Yeah.
Allison, did you talk to him tonight and tell him we'll call him back? Is that what happened?
No, I left a message on it was the same machine. Same answer that I got, that you got. I left a message and I called three times total.
Okay.
What is the date for the April meeting? I may be gone.
April 12th.
Oh, my birthday, I'm not gonna be gone. The next.
So
meeting.
Allison, just so you know, May 10th is our May meeting. I won't be here. So we can either, you can go forward without me, or we can reschedule that day.
We can reschedule that day.
We have here he is.
Oh, great.
Hi, Dennis.
Who is this?
Melissa from the licensing board, and you're being recorded right now.
Oh, why, am I supposed to be somewhere?
You're supposed to be at our meeting. Are you applying for a common victual license?
Yes.
Okay, well, we need to talk to you to do that. So we're talking.
Sorry, I didn't even. I mean, I did know about it, it's my fault, sorry.
Okay, we're trying to help you here.
You
So-
always try to help me, I'm very sorry.
Don't be sorry. So you're getting a common victual, which means you're opening.
Yes, I'm gonna open up the, well, I'm gonna try and open up the Thursday, the Thursday before St. Patty's with Glenn. Either, I got it written down over here.
The last two Thursdays of the month.
So Thursday, March 10th?
No.
No,
Hey, February, oh yeah, wait a minute, March, wait a minute, no, end of the month.
I
17th.
thought you were opening St. Patrick's Day.
See, I'm gonna try and open around St. Patrick's Day, which is 17th, so it'll be the Thursday, either 24th or the 31st, if not earlier. I'm gonna open as early as I possibly can.
But you're making it a possibility that you're gonna open on the 17th, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and open up as fast as I can, of course.
Okay, so there's some work to do here, so that's why I'm asking. So
Oh, I'm sorry,
that's okay. So do you think you'll be open before the 10th
for the 10th?
of March?
Well, St. Patty's the 17th, but I think it'll be more towards St. Patty's.
Okay, so tell me about the name of your business, because we know it is Halibut Point, but we see a sign out front that says Howard Blackburn. So tell
Yeah,
me what's going on.
It's gotta be called Howard Blackburn after the building. And because we want to get the name out, and it's very famous, it's a beautiful building, and I'm just gonna keep the same name, Halibut Point. We're gonna run it under Halibut Point, doing business as Howard Blackburn.
Great. So you
And,
know you need a business certificate, right? A DBA, doing business as?
Yeah, I went up. The strangest thing happened. I went up. It was funny. It's like I was starting all over again, like 40 years ago. I went up about a week and a half ago up Pond Street, and I gave him a couple of checks, and I paid for common victuals, and I think I paid for the DBA.
I think you
and,
go to City Hall for that. Did you go to City Hall?
And we took it to City Hall. Yes.
And did you talk to anybody there about a DBA certificate?
No.
So what did you
And
do at City Hall?
I know I filled out the form for it.
Okay.
On Pond Street.
Okay, so it's in the process.
No,
Yeah,
you,
I filled out the form.
Hold on,
On
Allison.
Pond Street, all the way down the right of the hallway there on the right.
Okay, hold on, Dennis. I'm just gonna hear from Allison. Allison, can you enlighten us?
yeah, so he filled out on Pond Road, he did fill out his common vic with me. And then he was supposed to go to either online or to the clerk's office to fill out the forms, which is on Dale Ave.
Right.
I remember, Allison, you took me down, remember I went down the hallway and filled out another form with this nice lady down there on the right?
That's
That
the
was
IT.
the establishment permit, Dennis. That was the health
Okay.
department.
Yeah, you got a couple of different things going on here, but you did go to City Hall and apply for a DBA certificate?
Yeah, I've been calling every day and they said it takes another week.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that's in the works.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Your business on paper is still called Halibut Point, but the name of your restaurant is
Howard Blackburn.
Howard Blackburn. So on your liquor license, we have to make some changes too, so know that that's coming.
Oh, I thought you just leave it as Howard.
Nope, there's no more Halibut Point. Because you changed your DBA, you have to change the DBA on your liquor license too. You have to add it to your liquor license. So
Okay.
you still have your license, but you need to file an application to change the DBA. In other words, you're putting yourself out to the world now as Howard Blackburn, so your liquor license has to say that.
Okay, you know what? I was going to talk to you because so can I start can I have my checks written up as Howard Blackburn or not?
That's a good question for your attorney.
I already asked him, he's on vacation.
When's he coming back?
A week. And I sent him an email and I talked to,
Who's your attorney? Can I ask just for the record?
Joel Favazza.
Okay. So he's on vacation. Tell him to stop emailing me on vacation then. So you want to know if you can write checks that say Halibut Point? Is that what you're asking?
Well, can I have Howard Blackburn written on my checks?
So I'm not your lawyer and I'm not pretending to be a lawyer, but it's my understanding, as long as you're not trying to prove any fraud to anybody, you can do that, but run it by your attorney just in case. We're only here to talk about your liquor license and your food license and your,
Okay,
okay?
so what can I do? I know what the food license, but what's the DBA one actually do?
So there's an application online and we can help you with that. Allison.
Can help him
We
with
need-
that. I don't know.
Allison will help you fill out. It's a DBA, change of DBA through the ABCC.
Okay, I'll come up and see Allison. Thank you,
You
Allison.
might want to bring her flowers and candy and a gift card
I'll bring anything.
Oh, under
to Blackburn. No, I'm only kidding. It can't be more than $50.
Under 25.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding on the gifts. So, because Allison's helping you a lot and that's why we love Allison. So there's a form you fill out and then you have to come before us and have a hearing and then we send it into the ABCC and they adjust their records. Don't feel like you can't open until that's done. Just keep going forward, but I would get in to see Allison as soon as possible to get that started.
Well, ask if I can come in tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Oh,
Allison,
I didn't hear that.
can he come in tomorrow at 9 o'clock?
I don't know what you're gonna need for paperwork for the DBA, because I've never filled that out. The clerk's
We did
office-
we did it for Minglewood 2 years ago. It's a form on the ABCC website.
Oh, you mean for that? Yeah, but for the clerk's office, 'cause I don't think that's done. So I need to look and see what he needs to be done. So give me some
So
time.
He claims he went to the clerk's office and he's been calling there and the DBA is in progress.
Okay.
So now we're talking about changing the DBA on his liquor license.
Oh, okay, so that's a.
It's not on the agenda, but I'm just trying to make sure he has everything in line. Well, tonight we're just dealing with the common vic, but I just want, while we have him on the phone, to get everything else in order.
So I can, the fine line here, because I don't work for the state, so for me to fill out state forms, I'm not an attorney. And
I
if I,
understand, hold on, I'm looking it up right now. So,
I'd love to help him, I don't mind helping him at all, but I just don't know that I'm qualified to help him.
well, I'm just trying to think how this is gonna work because it's not going through our permitting system, correct?
Right, it goes through the ABCC system. They have to fill out ABCC forms.
All right, so it's a very simple form. It's not complicated, but you have to take a vote. So I think what we do, Dennis, do you have anyone that can help you? Is your daughter or your, the gentleman that's helping you with the business around?
Not right now, but I have a bookkeeper that can help me.
So I would go to Allison tomorrow and she's gonna print off the documents that you would need to go online and fill out to go to the ABCC.
To go to the ABC, what?
So there's some documents that you need to fill out and Allison
Yeah.
can print them out to see, so to show you what they look like.
Yep.
But you have to fill it out online and send it directly to the ABCC. So someone's gonna have to help you with that website.
He's gonna need to make,
Okay. I can do that.
And what it's called is a change of DBA, and you need some things. You need to pay. You need a DOR certificate of good standing. Allison, do you know how to get those?
no,
They should be able to log in to unemployment and get that.
When is their attorney coming back from vacation?
He said a week.
Yeah, he has kids, so he's gonna be home by next week. So what we can do is we're gonna print this out and give it to you, and then when Joe gets back next week, you make an appointment with him and he'll be able to help you with all of this.
Okay,
It's
great.
very important. You have to get this done.
Okay.
And what we print you out is just for you to look at, but you actually have to go online to fill it out and Joe can help you with that, okay?
Yep, when should I come pick up the form?
Sometime tomorrow, Allison will have it ready, so you can go in the morning.
yeah, let's,
You want me to come on Thursday instead?
I have an appointment in the morning, so I can email it to him. If you want me to email it to him, that might be better. Because I can't help him.
Dennis, do you get email and do you know how to print from your email? Do you know how to do all that?
Yes.
Okay, Allison's gonna email it to you and all you have to do is press the print button. And I would at the same time maybe forward it to Joel and just say you need to fill that out.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, if I have any trouble, I call you guys back, right?
Yeah, but if you have Joel, you shouldn't have any trouble.
All right.
That's what you're
I
paying
called,
for.
it's funny because I called them and emailed them today. They asked them almost the same question you just asked me.
Okay. So right now tonight, we have to deal with your common victual license. So John and John, with Dennis on the phone for Howard Blackburn, do you have any questions regarding his common victual license?
I don't.
My only question is, still the same seating capacity as it was before, or have you changed things around?
Yes. Same,
Same, okay.
nothing's changed.
And you'll still be serving outside?
Yeah, in the summertime.
Summertime, okay. No further
So
questions.
Dennis, you said you were doing some remodeling in there. Is there any remodeling or are you just upgrading and,
No, we're just, we got new tables, painted the whole place, 4 coats of, we did a lot of nice cleanup, 4 coats of, on the floors. It's beautiful. You can see it, different colors. We're gonna have a old Howard Blackburn stuff. I got some from the museum. It's gonna be really neat, really, really neat. It's gonna be great for the city.
oh, I can't wait. So
It's
the,
gonna be great.
everything's pretty much the same as it was before, the same footprint. It's just gonna be decorated a little bit different, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
John Lammer, do you want to make wait, hold on. John Lammer, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, do you want me to say Halibut Point doing business as Howard?
Yeah.
Blackbird? Okay. I motion to approve a new common victular license for Halibut Point doing business as Howard Blackburn, doing business at 289 Main Street.
That's it.
And I-
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No,
Allison, roll call vote?
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Mr. Lambrand.
yes.
All right.
So Dennis, the motion passed. Do you have any questions for us tonight?
No, but thanks for saving my life, everybody. And again, I'm gonna call the clerk again about the common victuals, just to make sure I got it going.
No, that's the
Yeah.
DBA. You just got your common victular, so you need to call the clerk about your DBA, doing business as.
Yeah, but I'm gonna come pick up the paperwork from Allison.
No, she's gonna email it to you.
Okay, and then I'm gonna talk to Joel.
You're gonna talk to Joel. So you're gonna get an email. The clerk's office told you to wait a couple days, right? So we're gonna give them that couple days. You're gonna get an email and you're gonna give that email to Joel. You don't need to go see Allison because she's gonna email it to you.
Okay,
So check your
Chair.
email and then talk to Joel when he gets back from vacation.
okay.
John, do you have any more questions? John
I was
Lambrand?
gonna say, maybe suggest having Allison include Joel on the email.
Yeah.
I'll take
Allison, did you hear
It
that?
just might make it a little easier.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Do that.
okay. All right, Dennis, anything else?
No, that's a great idea. Send her over to Joel too. That'll cover me. That's great. Thank you very much.
We're gonna start charging you fees.
Thank you so much.
I'm just so glad you're opening. That's
I
good
am
news.
so glad to be okay again. I was every time I drove by my best friend, I was so sad to see it sitting there. But it came around Christmas and I saw it dark and I said, oh my gosh, I gotta do something. I gotta put some lights up. And then my daughter called me, she has a restaurant pro and me and said, yeah, we got the whole thing. It's beautiful. Let's just open it. So I said, okay, I'm opening it up. And that's how it started.
Now, will she be down here to help you out?
No, well, just come down and say hi once in a while. She's got her own, she got a bakery and a restaurant and a market.
She's a maid, right?
Yep, Portland.
Okay. All right, Dennis, we will be in touch soon, or you'll be in touch with us through your
Okay.
attorney. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before this board tonight? Because I think we've done well.
It's Margarita Day.
It is?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my God, I said twice today I need a margarita and I didn't know it was margarita day.
And you haven't had one yet.
Me neither, I have nothing. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Now you screwed the John thing up. You were supposed to second.
Well, you did it
Second.
too.
So we have a motion by John Orlando and a second by John Lammerin. Roll call vote? Yes. Just say
Yes, I didn't hear you, but
Everyone said yes. Awesome. All right, everyone, thank you very much for a great meeting. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
all right, see you later.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.